Since we have no old business, we'll move right into new business. Our first order under new business is a draft of a board manual that I believe everybody has a printed copy of. Matt, you have one? Okay. So Gil, okay. So Gil, if you want to share a little bit.
Sure. I know a few months ago, it's brought up that you want to create some sort of manual, right? That help guide the new board members. And I said I'll take the lead on it, and I started working on this past few last few days. Now this manual does not substitute any official document. It's just a guide, because I walk around with 4 different binders. One that has the government document, the bylaws, right? And as a new board member, there's this manual. Actually, it's to the one-stop shop that talks about what duty and responsibilities. So what I want the board to do is I use my military style into it. So every line has a number, and to avoid all these emails, I also start a spreadsheet. So you can just annotate a line 84 talks about principles. And just put your current verbiage and recommendations. So it's easier for me to track who submitted what, so that we work as a team to get this finalized for the board. Now, this is not the official document. This is just the first draft. I don't want this to be like 85 pages. It's talking the key points that allows any new board member that comes on board. Hey, we have all these binders. Everything is summarized here, so you can use it. If you have references, you can go back to the main government documents.
Okay. Yeah, so
I have a comment.
Sure.
Gil, I don't want to start counting lines. I don't know what lines correspond to what. You know,
So this one is not the actual form that last form I sent out.
Yeah, that form's separate. There's 2 attachments
So
to the
thing.
thing.
So one has this same document, but what it does is in the margins, it has line 1 for this, line 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, but the document itself that you sent out.
This one doesn't. It doesn't, because the reason why I left it blank, because you may not have issue with line 1 through 100, but your concern could be line 84, and it's actually.
Yeah, but I don't know what line 84 is.
No,
it's the other
this form
attachment.
is not the right one.
It wasn't numbered in my attachment.
So the last one I sent is
the
actually
last
numbered.
one. When did you send that?
Yeah, it sent like 2 or 3 days ago. So the last one that you have actually has the numbers per line.
Okay.
It could be if you're looking at it in the preview email window instead of downloading it, that those line numbers don't show up, because not all formatting is going to show up in the preview.
She sent me hers, and hers showed from her phone looks all jacked up, but
yeah,
out here looks perfect.
Yeah.
So
we have, I have some overall comments that I'll make.
And please, I want your honest feedback if certain things that we want to change to make it sound better, or sure, because I try to align everything with our official documents so that there's no misunderstanding of what.
I've already read it over quite a few times, but I haven't. I read Mallory's feedback. I tend to sort of agree with that. There's parts of her that I don't agree with, but most of it I do. But I'll get to it.
So one thought is, if we all have consensus on this, maybe it could be included in the new board onboarding when new board members are elected.
Yeah, it's something we talked about last year. I think Charlotte suggested it.
One thing I like to propose with this work here for a meeting is that we dedicate Gil, you have 7 days to review it, and then you pass it along to the next person. They got 7 days to review, make the comments. That gives us 30 days to actually review this document. Allows me to consolidate and make a final review, so it's easier just to keep it going. So what's gonna happen is that what I don't wanna do is sitting in an email with no one. Because I'm trying to put a suspense
Yeah.
to it.
So maybe we collaboratively agree on a target
Yeah.
end date where it's good to go and ready to launch, and maybe we can work backwards from there. Since it would be ideal to have,
That's those two, yeah.
since it would be ideal to have in time for a new board training, maybe we shoot for end of January to have it complete. What are the thoughts on that?
Any thoughts of having it in January or December?
I think we ought to see how it goes, you know, without setting some deadline out there, but, because it may not take that long. I don't know.
If
Yeah.
we get it done earlier, great.
Yeah,
Right.
the processing of all the comments is what's gonna take some time, and
Are we gonna try to do this whole thing digitally, or are we gonna meet and talk about it at some point?
So the intent to get all your comments, I'm gonna consolidate them, right? And then I'm gonna email all you all. Okay, these are all your comments and concerns. And then whenever we go to our next working session, that lines up when I get all the comments, we'll discuss them. And then based on that final recommendation of the board, I'll incorporate those recommendations. Then I'll push it for y'all to final review so that we can present in the next stated meeting. So it's not gonna be all digital. Now, the digital
Yeah,
portion
yeah,
is to give the opportunity for you
there's
to read
a-
and provide your comments.
there's a lot here to cross-check with our board documents. And that may take some time. I don't know. I have to, you know, I have to see what it takes me, you know, going through it.
Any other comments on the manual? Nope. Okay. Our second item is talking about some ideas have been generated from the climate survey results. And so we've kind of talked informally amongst one another and across some emails, some ideas that we had when we formally reviewed the results in our previous meeting. One thing that I noticed is that a fitness center was by far the #1 most requested new amenity for the question that we asked, what new amenities would you like to add? Currently, we have a cottage at the tennis facility, and that cottage is empty. Jeff went over there and he measured the area. And so I looked into some pieces of equipment, and both y'all got one? I must have an extra one for Mallory. So there's 2 pages here. You have a page showing the 3 pieces of equipment that I'm suggesting that we could include. And the other page shows a scaled drawing to show how the equipment would fit into the tennis cottage and allow for a stretching area. So we originally had well over $20,000 budgeted for improvements to the swim and racket area and tennis courts. We're going to use around, what's the cost of the crack repair? Do you remember, Jeff? Is it 3,000 or 6,000?
It's like
6,000.
Yeah.
So adding these machines, and they are commercial grade machines, still keeps us well under that budgeted amount. And so my idea is people want a fitness facility. We have a small space for it there. We have a good start with the equipment. We can put a scanner card on the door so that we can control access to it. That tennis cottage has showers, 2 bathrooms and 2 showers, which also makes it a really nice area for adding a gym. And the thought is we can use the card reader data to understand how much the gym is going to be utilized. And that could drive, future discussions of maybe relocating once we overhaul the 19th hole and have a larger, more fuller fitness facility for the membership.
What have we looked at here for the annual operating costs?
So Jeff told me Blink camera, you gotta help me with this, Jeff, because
Blink cameras will be fine. I can get those installed. We'll have to get internet back in the building. The card reader system is gonna run about $40 to $50 a month. Just because you can't run, where we're having a lot of issues with the old card reader for the old pool system, was so much data is going across the network that AT&T shuts it down for precautionary reasons. So it has to run on its own little independent server. Little thing. It's about $50 a month. So there's $50 a month for that, around 70 for the internet. And then having the cleaners go down there, that should be a couple $100 a month. And then insurance, he's anticipating right around $1,500 a year.
Yeah, the discussion of do we include equipment in the building and so on, it filters into the whole discussion of the tennis center in general. And I think we need to, I passed out some figures here that Jeff prepared, and we'll need, I didn't intend to discuss them here because I was going to discuss them in the first budget meeting, and which I think I'm on the agenda to discuss that, but when I get to that, I'll talk about that.
does anyone else have thoughts?
How much was the cost for these pieces?
Okay,
Is it
okay.
listed,
It is. So the functional
Yeah.
trainer is $3,400. The recumbent bike is $600. The treadmill, it depends because they sell them professionally refurbished versus brand new. So you can get a warranted refurbished one for $2,000, $2,500, or a brand new out the box for $5,000. And these three pieces were picked because it kind of gives everyone a little bit of an option. You have high impact cardio. The recumbent bike is really good for our older people who don't want to climb up higher on the bikes. And then of course we have a stretching area for people who may want to come in and do mat Pilates or yoga.
Okay.
So your concern I have is security, because what we don't want is people actually walking away with little pieces of this and going back to witnessing this pull up because someone took the little
Took the bar.
tricep.
Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, there's 6 attachments on the
Yeah.
universal machine. We're gonna put a camera inside of the gym. And then we'll also have the card reader. So if stuff does disappear, we know where to start asking.
Because that's the only thing that worries me is walking away.
Yeah, that's why I didn't propose dumbbells or anything like that, because
That definitely walk away.
To do this really is a subset of a whole bunch of decisions, and that's what I'm trying to factor this into and evaluate against other alternatives as well.
that's one opinion, but we all get one on the board.
That's not an opinion, that's an evaluation. We'll make the evaluation.
Okay.
Anything else on that?
Have we looked at other locations?
Such as,
Well, this building, there's space in here.
oh yeah, there's definitely space in here. I just was thinking that we're probably gonna be doing a refresh of the facility. So we could get something started now and then expand on our offerings once the 19th hole has been refreshed.
Mhm.
And there's
So that was the
also
thought.
We
access
have,
issue. Access issue
Oh
here.
yeah, you don't have 24 access with the card reader. Like,
How many pieces of equipment will go in that facility?
3 is what she scaled it out
here's
for.
the dining.
3?
She got a little diagram. I included the diagram in the back.
Okay, that's good. I got that, yeah.
I'm just curious if we're entertaining here, I'm curious about what space we have here.
The old boardroom,
the old,
That whole thing.
Well, back to the question of here, we have more traffic here. So we would have less security risk than a remote building. Is it impossible to put a card reader on one of the doors, Jeff?
Yeah,
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
because I can't block off the, if they got in the door, they would be able to go hop the counter into the kitchen, walk into the pro shop. Even the alarms would go off, but still, they
I
would,
see.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Now, there is a separate entrance back there, right? That door, and no
Mhm.
steps.
Yeah, we should have to frame it in.
Is that a possibility?
We're gonna close off that door anyway, at some point.
so those are things that we need to consider, because now we're talking about structure changes. That's gonna cost. So whenever we're doing the evaluation of if we want to do it here, what's the structural cost? Because if we gotta change, we gotta close walls and remove doors to get access to bathrooms or whatever. It's because I don't know layout. It's, I personally haven't gone back there to see what we did out, but I'm hoping that whenever we do this analysis of the feasibility, we actually consider all those aspects of, okay, how much it's gonna cost us.
we also have to consider that if we do this, it locks us into paying the maintenance and the upkeep on the facility as a whole. And that's what I've got in these options. And I asked Jeff to include your option of putting the equipment down there and et cetera, is one of the options in this. I'm not sure we did
She was gonna
that.
present it in the meeting, so I was gonna let.
Okay.
present it.
Okay, but I was gonna present that, you know, these various options, as part of our budget, review, because we have to consider what other decisions that locks us into if we're gonna do this. And so without getting into the details of this, which I'm not really prepared to
I
talk
just want to make
about.
sure we
um,
look at everything holistically, because if our plan is to remodel this 19 home, right? Any structure changes we make to accommodate for this gym, we have to make sure that it aligns with what we're projecting for the remodel for this.
Yeah, but I wouldn't, that's Tom's suggestion. I'm not fully understanding what he's suggesting, but the options here have to do with the tennis center. And there's 4 of them, I believe, but I think there's 5 when you
And if I'm understanding it correctly. this
cut
is
it down,
kind
but
of,
But that will be presented as part of the first budget meeting that we're gonna have. And we're gonna have that, I've tentatively scheduled that for Tuesday, 25 August. And that meeting, I shouldn't talk about this because it's coming down on the
It is,
agenda.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
just
so,
hold it.
Charlotte also had some
Oh,
ideas
I have
from
a
the
question for
climate
this.
survey
So if I'm
results.
understanding this correctly, this is just basically an idea for that location down there as more of a temporary location, all things considered. So it's
Right.
not necessarily, let's build it out, let's do this big fancy thing. You're trying to accommodate because of the survey where you have a lot of people interested in doing something that is more gym location. Is it feasible? Well, I mean, we haven't gotten that far.
Right, well, I
Gotten that far
did
into it.
research that all of the machines, once they're installed, also can be taken apart and moved. So they're not a
Is
permanent
that-
installation.
Is that floor in there, is that, cement or is it a raised, it's raised? Can that
Mhm.
floor handle that kind of weight?
Those are the stuff we need to consider.
Yeah, that's another
Probably.
question. I mean, it would be the same here too, so can it handle?
That's a good question.
structure?
So, maybe Mallory could,
Yeah.
there's like a pounds per square.
Right, right.
So maybe she could tell us that.
Didn't we at one point have a concern about the roof on that little cottage? Was there something there?
We did a
So the age
repair,
of the
we did
roof,
a bunch of roof repairs on on buildings all around I think
Yeah.
down there and
2017, 2018, something
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
But
and,
not-
and
there's
there
not-
was,
there's not one
there
now.
was a building down there, we did
Okay,
a couple
yeah, I
of
just,
repairs.
I thought I remembered something and, you know,
Yeah,
didn't wanna have a roof leaking on new equipment or something.
no,
Hey, Charlotte, you
Yeah.
have other piece?
Yeah, sorry, is the one that I was looking at is, again, we're pulling things from, the survey of things that people were interested in. And one of the things that I saw was, the walking trails that are over by the Lawson entrance, and we'll just say generically the Lawson entrance. Haven't really got anything in stone yet, but I did have it so where, some people provided, what the overview looks like of where some of those trails are. And so having conversations, we're just gonna kind of everybody jump in the car when it's not extremely hot and muggy outside. And go take a walk and see what we see, right? Let's just figure out what's there,
Sure.
figure out what we can do. And hopefully we can do something that will make people happy as far as walking trails, but have little to no cost.
Are they wide enough for golf carts or
I don't know.
you don't know? I noticed when I was looking behind the swim and racket pool that there are wide trails back there.
There's
I don't
tons of
know
them.
what those are. Are those like old electrical lines or is that what it
Utility
is?
line, yeah.
there's
Okay.
utility, yeah.
And I guess also kind of figuring out which pieces, and Jeff would probably know this, which pieces we mow, which pieces we maintain. Are they ours? Are they an easement of somebody else? Like, all those different types of things. So I think just kind of getting out there and mapping it first, finding all those little things, I think will be the first step and go from there.
Yeah, the only thing with that is that I agree it's relatively little cost, but it is a cost. We have to mow it and,
No,
You
I don't mean
know-
that we would mow it. I'm saying if we already do mow it is something that Jeff would answer. once we
yeah,
provide
yeah.
it.
And I would want to know, if we're gonna expend any cost, how many likely users we would have, but
Mhm.
Anything else on climate survey results? Gil, did you want to speak on what you were emailing today or do you want to Wait.
So I
for
want,
climate surveys?
so I want to wait, so
Okay.
that gives y'all the opportunity for you to actually read the email. Because I did take some feedback out of there and I already have some initiatives that I was thinking about to bring back the community back together again. Based on a few meetings that we had with board members talking about how the fronts are looking, the signs, the entrances, they don't look like they used to look like 10 or 15 years ago. And it's trying to incorporate the garden club and get them involved. And I'm trying to bring back life to the community and it's gonna start with getting people engaged. I know I came out with 8 initiatives. I would look at my phone, but unfortunately, I can't look at work emails, actually POA emails on my phone because it's the security won't let me get into them. So
have you seen the policy guidelines on enforcement of AR? We got the architectural review guidelines themselves. Which
right here
are-
that I have.
Yeah, that's taken from
Yes.
the covenants.
Yeah.
But we also have a written policy on how to enforce those architectural review guidelines. Have you seen that?
Yes.
But that's not what we're
But that's
talking
Not what we're
about.
talking
That Patrick's got copies of that. I've seen, when I first became architectural review chairman, I was conducting those meetings. I thought I had everything. And it was about the second, third meeting, I found out there's a whole volume of stuff that, just making sure that you had that. Yeah, good.
Okay, anything else on climate survey results? No. Okay, next, Matt and Tom, do you have an update on lake stuff?
Yeah, in fact, we just finished our meeting today. So, couple things we need to make clear. The lake is not going to disappear. It will reach a constant level there based on the volume that flows in from the 2 creeks. And then that level is not going to change much. In the meantime, we're looking at how to handle the sluice gate situation. And the quick background there is that the divers went down, cleaned out the sluice gate, which improved the flow, pulled out things like truck tires and railroad ties. In that identification of, and the sluice gate has been stuck for, we don't know how long, but the last time it was movable, they were only able to raise it. They didn't try to lower it. And that was 13 years ago. So there's been no maintenance out there in 13 years. We had the divers go down, look at things. They told us that the valve stem rod that is the main element to help raise and lower the gate was bent in 3 places. So, just take any home experience that you've had where you needed something that was straight and it was bent in a couple places, and it's clear
This is
how
screw
inoperable
rod.
that would be. Yeah, and it's horizontal or it's vertical. So the next step here, we're working with the lead divers to try to identify how to fabricate this replacement rod. And the next step is to go out. Jeff is going to go out tomorrow and cut a piece of this rod that is large enough, Matt says it needs to be 12 inches, to send to the fabricator so that we can get them started replacing the rod and manufacturing that. We don't have any timetable at this point on how long that's going to be. The next steps from that will be bringing the divers back to help us get the rod disconnected and removed if we can't get it out ourselves, and then replacing it when the rod is fabricated. There are some fasteners there as well, so there's some welding according to them that is going to have to be done, and they're not welders, so that's a different company. We expect that once we get the rod out and we get the fabrication underway, that we might be able to speak in terms of better deadlines for the rest of the repairs here.
So the concern that I have about this is the first time I heard about any issues with that lake was from a city official.
Right.
From a city official.
I heard you. Saw the email.
We sent, somehow we approved a diver to go and clean. It's, well, as I said, somehow we approved. Because I was gone for 1 month. I'm not sure that happened on the month that we approved a diver to come in and clean it. We created this problem, right? We created, so now we have to fix a problem that we created. How much that's gonna cost the membership.
All right, let's,
Hold on.
correct yourself, that we
Wait,
did
you-
not
he's
create this
speaking,
problem.
So
No,
don't speak
no.
over him. Let him finish.
In a way we did, because we sent a diver to clean out something, right?
No, we
That
sent
was,
it.
but once again,
Go ahead.
it was, it might have been broke for 13 years. I don't know that. I'm not an expert diver. I'm not a welder. Okay? They went down there, they cleaned it up. Now we can't close it because it's bent. So we created that problem, so now we have to fix it. I would like to know, right? What was the thought process of hiring the next project? Because we were we scrutinized a lot of our projects. So I want to understand, right? How did we get to, we're getting someone to cut a piece of that rod. It's gonna get it measured. We're gonna cut it, and we're gonna get someone to actually fix it. How did we get through that without the board knowing? Because I did not know about it. And if it's in a meeting, please provide me those minutes, so I can have a better understanding of how we got to what we got today.
Okay, well, let's start with your first point. Uh, If you hire me to blow the pine straw off your roof, and I blow the pine straw off your roof, and I say, hey, Gil, while I was up there, I noticed you had a hole in your roof. Is that hole in the roof my fault because I blew the pine straw off and uncovered it?
They're two different things.
So it's not a we
there's no-
mess this up.
No,
It has my turn.
it's
Yeah.
we.
My
but we as a
turn.
board.
You're
My
talking, you're talking
right?
over him.
It has
I got
existed.
you, sir. I
Hold
got you,
it.
sir. I don't need you to.
It
check
has,
me. I got
the
you.
problem has existed. The gate was stuck open. It's not like it was closed before that and it got opened, and now we can't do anything about it because every drop of water is flowing out of there. The gate was stuck open. We need, for the lake restoration and also for flood control, we need to be able to operate that gate. We've gotten away all this time ignoring it, like many things. It's time to fix the gate. First thing you do in fixing the gate, because this falls in with the plan approved by the board to restore the lake. First step in that is getting the divers down there to figure out why the sluice gate doesn't work.
That's not the
Okay.
first step.
That was approved by the board when Matt's plan was approved by the board. That is in Matt's plan. So whether we brought it to your attention, it was under $10,000. It was authorized by the board when they approved Matt's plan.
Let me say something.
If that's the case.
Let
then
me
yours
say
would be
something.
Approved as
Let
well.
me say something. We had a question. The valve was inoperable. We knew that. We knew it'd been a long time since it had been operated. We had a question, why won't it operate? We didn't know. So there were some divers that Jeff had contacted Jeff, and Jeff asked us, would you want the divers to go down today? They're here, they'll go down today. We said, is it fairly cheap? Yeah. Well, let's have them go down today. Then somehow that fell through. Why, Jeff?
Because of the danger of the
Different diver.
Yeah, the diver, it was the owner of the company said it was too risky for his.
For his
What- yeah,
divers to
yeah.
go. And then Jeff came back to us after he had, I guess, investigated finding another diver to go down to inspect this gate to see why it wasn't operating, what was wrong with it. And that's when you contacted the salvage company to dive on it. And they said they would. And you came to us and you said, what?
This is part of you have a lake budget. Is this something you guys would like to do? Is this something you want to do? It's equated it to scoping out a line if there was a plumbing issue. You have to figure out what's going on where you can't see it. So that was sort of the idea and the principle behind it was you need to figure out what the problem is.
So we got, Jeff hired the divers. We went out there and they dove on it. And when they dive, they have a camera on top of the thing. And they could see, I don't know, maybe 2-3 feet from, but there's a camera feedback to a screen in the trailer that they tow. And the other operator, there's 2 divers. The other operator's in the trailer and he's watching this on the TV. So we're sitting in there watching him, inspect this thing. He's cleaning out, the valve is basically a plate that lowers and raises, and it rides in some tracks on either side. He's cleaning out mussels out of these tracks with his knife, mussels and so on and so forth. And we're trying to see what we can see. We can only see it, but he's next thing you know, he's holding stuff up above the water, tree limb. somebody took that, I think, and put it on top of the dam. Then he came up and he's got a bigger thing. And he keeps handing us all this stuff up there. Well, these were things that were stuck in front of the valve. Any one of them could have been the reason why the valve wouldn't operate. So he handed us, I don't know how much stuff. I wasn't watching that part. I was in the trailer. And and because the valve didn't have to open any more than it already was open, it was about 4 inches from the bottom. There was flow going in the bottom. We've had up until this month a lot of flow into the lake. See, so the bit that he cleaned out from in front of it allowed more water to flow out. Well, there was water flowing in. So storage is inflow minus outflow. Okay. So we've had relatively dry periods. We have a little more of that 4 inches open and more flows flowed out. So what happens? These people that raised hell at me, you know how they raised hell at me. She raised hell at you. She called me on the phone, the next door neighbor. I'm listening for half an hour till she would, because I know her personality, till she calmed down, and then I had a chance to speak. And I said, we this valve stem that's going down is bent in 3 places. We knew it was bent already in 2, and we cleaned out the stuff in front of it, and the outflow is just, right now is exceeding the inflow into the lake. So the lake level has dropped, but there's nothing anybody can do about that until we figure out how to replace this valve stem that was bent. Okay.
I understand your explanation.
So as this developed, the diver asked me, the head guy asked me, do I want to try to operate the valve? I said, sure, let's try to raise it a little bit because we knew there's something still caught in the opening. We don't know what that is. We can't see it, but he thinks it's a tire. He thinks it's a rim that's bent around the seat of the valve. And they said, what if I raise it a little bit and we'll see if we can get that out? Okay, so they raised it a little bit. I think he said 2 inches or so. Yeah, but it didn't free up, didn't get that out. So they tried lowering it back down. Well, they hit the point where that thing's stopping it. Well, the valve stem had already been bent twice. It was bent again when it hit the stop. So that's what happened. That's the way it happened. That's what happened.
So when I say we created a problem.
No.
Let me just
No,
clarify.
we didn't.
We created a problem because
I'm not
we did
talking.
something good. Did something good. We're trying to fix it. But now that we fixed it, now we have a gate that doesn't close because.
No, we haven't fixed it. We still have a gate that won't operate.
Yeah, I know it's not fixed. So we got a gate that we knew that for 13 years it hasn't been operated, which blows my mind that in 13 years.
Yeah, I hadn't been here for
we did
13
not-
years
we
trying
did
to
not
operate the
touch
valve
that.
though.
It
Yeah.
blows my mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hadn't been here for 13 years trying
But
to
that's
operate.
besides, I wasn't here 13
Yeah.
years.
I wouldn't
right?
either.
And I understand that
Yeah.
y'all approved the budget.
And
Okay, I
Yeah.
appreciate that explanation. So my question is, I think where my question is if y'all knew that gate could not close, right? And we got water flowing. I'm gonna use your analogy about blowing the leaves from your roof. That person told the owner, right? Lake Forest Committee is not the owner of that
I
dam.
don't know about that.
So my
analogy.
question is why is it that the board was not made aware of, hey, we're gonna get hit because we found this deficiency, right? We'll whenever to fix it, we got more water coming out because we cleaned it, right? And we had to hear it, right? Because I didn't hear it from the first response I got was from a city official, right? So
Well-
how is it that the committee did not immediately notify? And if there's an email that I missed, please educate me. 'Cause I'm all, right?
Yeah.
if that happened and we couldn't fix it, why the board was the last person to be notified, right? And we have to hear it
Well, number one,
from
the lake,
outside source.
the lake didn't draw down immediately. We didn't know it was gonna
I
draw down.
think you guys are missing.
Well,
the point.
I'll buy your point.
Let me finish.
I
Let
think
me
Well,
finish.
let's hold on a
We-
second, because this is a different point.
This is-
If you're upset that the board was not informed that a potential problem was coming our way, do I have you right?
It's the process. It's called
Then I
communication,
agree
right?
with you. I think that is a shortcoming on our part, that we should have just given the board a heads up that said, look, this
It's not
happened,
gonna matter.
could be a problem.
I sent
Here's
Jeff
what
an
we're doing
email
about it.
explaining that, didn't I?
Okay, but we as a board, we didn't tell the rest of the board this. So I got you there, and I think I agree with you on that.
Because I was blindsided about it.
Can I
Yeah.
point out that we had this conversation last month and there, I made sure to make the point of there was no communication about this diver. There was no communication about the lake. There was zero transparency. So this is not the first time that this has been brought up, that there's been no
Well,
communication.
we're talking about something different, though.
But no, we're
there's-
not.
we
We're
are.
talking about the
Yeah, we
lake and the
are.
diver and going under and
No,
spending money and all
Gil,
these different
Gil
things.
is saying he
You
feels
don't,
he
I'm
got
saying right here,
blindsided.
I know what Gil is saying. And then I also want to point out that it's been over a month now. I reached out and I was like, hey, we don't have any information about any quotes that have been received. Do we know if this diver is actually qualified to do it? Did you guys go through any of the procedures in order to get this project up and running? And
Jeff
you have
did.
not.
What-
Again, you keep
Jeff
pointing at
does all
Jeff,
kinds of
but-
things.
But
What
then
did you-
if
what
Jeff
Jeff
is the one
does-
handling
when
this,
did
then
you
why is
send
the lake
that
doing
email?
it?
Jeff does
I don't-
all
You
kinds of
answered it.
stuff that you know nothing
All right,
about.
everyone's arguing and we're not respecting rules of order.
You answered the email.
Speak one at a time. I have something I would like to say. I haven't chimed in yet.
Yeah, but
The-
Jeff does
Matt,
work
I'm-
within his authority all the time that you don't know
You're
nothing
speaking over
about.
me and you're ignoring the rules of order.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Was the general problem with how you guys operate the lake committee and communicate with the board is the underlying issue. The sluice gate is a major repair that has been budgeted.
it's not a
It's
major,
included in our capital project. It's $100,000.
no,
That's what's
It's
listed
literally
it
in,
on
was
the capital
12,000
improvement
this year.
yeah, okay. And you guys love the standard operating procedure document that we have.
But
You have followed it none.
We didn't,
And look,
we
you're
didn't
not
adopt
talking
that.
over
It's
me.
our
I gave you,
document.
I gave you
You're
the 20
misstating
minutes.
facts, though.
I am not misstating facts.
You are.
There is a budgeted,
We'll reply. Give her a minute.
Go ahead.
you're not informing the board. You're not following the rules for the projects. The two of you operate in a vacuum when it comes to the lake committee and reporting back to the board. All of us are sitting here saying, we don't know what's going on. And then we get emails from members saying that the two of you told them we were gonna vote against repairing the lake. I
There's
had to
been no such
explain to
thing.
them, okay, well, I shared those emails with you and you did not reply. So
I did.
I was also told that you told them we would be voting on the 20th regarding repairs to the lake. The board has seen nothing from the committee with cost, plans, steps, any notification at all that you plan on us voting on something on the 20th. And the prime purpose for this working session is for us to review the things that we plan on voting at the stated meeting. So
Okay.
it's a general request from the broader membership that the two of you be more inclusive and more informative about what's going on with the lake, because we all care about the lake. We all would like to know what's going on with the lake and how we can help get it repaired.
You're taking the word of somebody that told you over the phone that somebody was gonna vote on the budget.
It was
Th-
two
there was
emails.
No, wait a minute, I'm talking now. Now, she was told that we would have to pass this through the board. And there would be no guarantee if they would approve it. That's all she was told. All that other stuff you made up and added an email to me. I'm sent an email to Jeff explaining him everything that's been said here. The day that happened, he was out there, by the way. And he does repairs on things all the time that you don't hear about, you don't know about, because within his authority, because it's a minor thing. The repair of the sluice box is a whole bunch of work. It's not just the valve. And that is in the reserve for next year, $150,000. But you still have to know what you're gonna do to spend that 150. You can't just, oh, I think it's something wrong with the valve. You gotta know what's wrong with the valve. So how do you know when something is wrong below the water that you can't see? Get divers if you can.
The problem is the
We
lack of
still don't really
communication.
know.
Not telling the
Bullshit.
board, we're going to begin this process and we're gonna start with sending divers out.
We told the board we were gonna begin the process.
You did not.
We
And you
told the
have 3
board.
board members here saying you didn't.
And that SOP was passed by the whole board. It's not my SOP.
No, I'm just saying you reiterated it for us in email
Yeah,
twice this
yeah.
week, so.
Talking about complying with SOP is
I
rich.
just want to clarify something because, for the same comment that those 2 individuals, that's just one individual, told Misty, told me. Exactly. Her words,
I have the same email.
same emails. But the way I responded to y'all's email is, I have a hard time believing that members of this board are gonna mislead community members. That's on my email. I did not say, hey, Matt, you did this, or Tom, you did this. But because I personally I left a conference to address her concerns, right? And she literally said that you told her that. But you know what? I didn't come back to you and say, yeah, you said. I said, you know what? Because there's always one side, 2 sides, the truth is somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah.
But my email was, hey, we need to make sure, right, that we're saying the right message.
And I sent you an email and said, I understand you met with her, but you hadn't told me you met with her, and time had elapsed since you met with
I
her.
don't have to.
Wait a minute,
Well,
I don't
wait a
have to
minute.
be too.
Let's move on here to what we can do. This is
Yes,
a work session.
I just
know,
want
and
more
we're-
communication.
We're
Yep.
getting way bent here instead of trying to stay focused. I will agree. It was a shortcoming on our part, and I'll take responsibility for that, for not informing the board that there was potential trouble here. I will maintain that this project, the sluice box generally, and this investigation of the gate has been board approved and funded since the time Matt's Lake Restoration Plan was created, because it is step 1 in that plan. If you feel like you have to be reminded of that, I'll take that as a lesson. And next time I'll make sure I say, you might remember when, well, that money's coming due now. I'm willing to do that.
Yeah, just understand is
Otherwise, let's move on.
yeah, so when was that budgeted? It was way before me. So when I asked the question, right, don't assume that I know, because I've been on the seat for 6 months,
Yeah.
right? And I do not read people's mind, right? And one thing I preach is just communicate, please communicate, right? That's all I ask.
You have,
Communicate.
you
All right,
have,
we're good.
you have my report too.
Just communicate.
We done with Lake?
We're done with like,
Okay, next budget item is you, Matt, for, meeting preparation.
Yeah, I laid out a temporary schedule just to mention it here, for the finance committee meetings, as chairman of the finance committee. Tuesday, August 25th will be our first meeting. And at that first meeting, I intend to have Jeff present what he's done thus far on the budget. He's worked on it from his standpoint. I don't, I hadn't seen that, but
It's the draft, it's like a.
Yeah,
rough-
yeah. Yeah, but that'll lay the predicate for how we'll proceed after that. We'll take his recommendations and do with them, throw them out, adopt them, proceed, and so on the 3rd of September, we'll have the second meeting. And I hope by then we have a final reserve study, because part of this budgeting process and part of the infrastructure committee was to revise, or, the reserve study is a living document, but it's to revise that reserve study. But we'll do that in the meeting, and we'll finalize that on the 3rd of September, I hope. Like I say, this is just my draft thinking. Thursday, 17 September, we'll set out a draft to all the board members after the meeting of what we've agreed to as a temporary budget. And then on 1 October, we'll have the budget. After that meeting, the budget will be final, and we'll draft a letter to the membership on what we've discovered and learned over these successive meetings. And that's it.
Are you gonna send calendar invites for those dates? Or
Yeah,
at least an email with,
I'll have Jeff send them.
okay,
Do we know what time of the day? Ain't all the board of directors part of the financial committee?
Yes,
Yes.
all the board members are members of the finance committee.
Please, send a
And-
date, because I work until 1,500 hours every single day.
Yeah, well, I'll have them after 6 o'clock. That'll be good.
anything else?
That's all.
Comments? So we'll look for the calendar invites for those 4 meeting dates. Approximately how long do you think each of those are going to last? Is it like a 1 hour thing, a 4 hour thing?
Yeah, your guess is good as mine, Misty. The
Usually takes a couple hours, it's not a quick
last
thing.
2 years we've done it. How long did they last,
A long
Charlie?
time.
So the working dinner,
A long time is not a time, but I guess,
Bring a drink,
I always bring dinner, Bill.
bring
Yeah.
a drink, bring a snack.
Yeah.
Last year's treasurer provided pizza.
yeah, well, this year's treasurer won't, but we'll try to keep them to an hour, but they may run over.
Okay, our final item of new business is the mandatory stormwater facility inspections. And is that more Jeff than, okay, so Jeff, do you want to just share no updates? Do you want to explain the letter that we received?
Yes, we're still trying to figure out which stormwater retention areas they're referring to. But there are annual inspections that should be completed on all stormwater retention areas. There's a list of specifications and things that we have to monitor on an annual basis. We are working towards scheduling that for all of the affected areas that we need to monitor, and then
Yeah.
setting up schedule. Yes, sir.
And that's not just us, that's all HOAs. The problem really came about when they realized HOAs weren't cleaning out their stormwater detention. There's a requirement in construction that post-construction runoff equals pre-construction runoff, and you mitigate that by digging a hole in the ground, basically. And they were running into problems with HOAs doing that and enforcing that, and that's where that came from.
So is it going to be you and your staff doing the inspections? No, so this is something we hire
We'll have
out.
to hire an engineer.
Okay. Any idea, ballpark figure what that will cost, or it's going to depend on how many areas we identify?
Depends on how many areas. It could be relatively inexpensive if it's one particular area, or it can be a very large expenditure if it involves other areas. But yeah, we'll know. We were supposed to get some confirmation about which areas they were speaking of. Haven't heard back on that yet. But we will, as soon as I find that out, I'll move forward with lining up getting some quotes on some inspections.
Okay. Does the city provide us with like a suggested list of people to use?
Not giving us that, so as of yet.
Okay,
Hey,
I s-
Jeff, I'm
Yes.
sorry, ma'am. If you want, I could reach out to Jesse Ward to figure out, because I'm only tracking the one that's next to the clubhouse.
I gotta
Oh, the
believe
one
that's not the
here
one they're
says-
talking about. I gotta believe in my heart of hearts that that's not what you're talking about.
Sure.
Cause that's been empty for, we've just put water in it as of like March this year, so.
Yeah, I'll just reach out,
Yeah.
I'll reach out to her to figure out exactly which ones we're getting inspected, because they might know of one that we don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, so they'll have their own list?
Yes, of what they're expecting.
They don't think the 17th pond is stormwater, do they?
That's one potential area. There's a creek down the hill between us and the swimming racket.
Yeah.
A couple other bodies of water around, but there's a, we're just not really sure which one they're specifying and we're required to have it examined.
I
I'll
don't,
reach out to her.
I don't
She's the
think,
environmental.
yeah, I was on that committee for years until recently. And they were doing inspections and we didn't have any stormwater intention. So I'll be interested to see what they'll have to say.
So you're saying that somewhere along the line, maybe the definition changed, that
No.
we didn't have any before, but now they think we do?
No, I don't know. They may have just sent a blanket letter out to everybody.
Uh-huh.
Okay, any other items from the board? Other than our new business items? No, then we'll move into executive session.
It totally looks different when it's not on your phone.